Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080. Yeah! Your boy is jacked up! Yeah! I've been working out, baby! What's up, you scallywags? It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. I know it's President's Day. I know it is. I know the drill. I know my homies and my roadies, the people who take no days off, are out there listening to the show. The rest of you folks sitting at home, enjoy your federal holiday, President's Day today. We got sad news. Just heard that Academy Award-winning actor Robert Duval has passed at the ripe age of 95. And Roland was telling me a story behind the scenes about him. He got an opportunity to encounter him. He was the only actor, I can honestly say, always seemed like a grandfather. And then I saw him in a very old movie, To Kill a Mockingbird. And that blew my mind because I don't remember any time Robert Duvall young. I don't know, that sounds crazy, but Robert Duvall has always been like an elderly person, even when he wasn't. What was that movie that he did, Roland? Can you remember this one? It was a movie with he and Michael Caine and young Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense. I can't remember the name of it. It was Tiger. It was like the lion. I can't remember the name of it. Secondhand Lion. That's it. Wow, how did you remember that? You saw that? You didn't see it? But the fact that you remembered is a big deal. But even then, I mean, that movie is well over 30 years old. And he was an older guy then. I also remember him in a great movie, Falling Down, with Michael Douglas. Probably one of the best films Michael Douglas has ever done. But Robert Duvall plays the old, elderly, retiring police officer in that film. He's the guy who's got to talk Michael Douglas's character down, as he goes off the deep end. I'll never forget, he was also the elder statesman in a famous gangland film called Colors. 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 Colors.
You got to think about it.
What, it was 95?
Yeah. So he really had 40 years of being able to play
older characters.
Older character. That's a long time. I was zero when he started.
That is such a great point. Right. It was like before you were born, he was already playing old guys in movies.
Yeah.
So you grew up with him. Well, the only times you saw him in film, he was the old guy.
Yeah.
That's. I didn't think about that. That's such a good point. That is such a good point. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I think of like all of the characters that he played. One of my favorite is a film that he was in. I can't say he was my favorite in the film, but yet he was one of the all-star casts. It's a film called The Paper. And we're talking about an ensemble cast. Randy Quaid, Robert Duvall, Jason Alexander makes an appearance. Glenn Close, Michael Keaton, the beautiful and always refined Marissa Tomei.
Oh, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, never talk about aging like fine wine. Every time I see her, I say, damn, she's gorgeous. She's just as gorgeous as the first time I ever saw her. Just incredible. I mean, she's ageless. Even as she gets older, she's still beautiful. It's like she has found a way to be young and old and still look immaculate. But but it's a movie about two kids that are accused of, the paper that is, two kids who are accused of murdering two white men in a city street. And they think that it's a gangland hit when it truly, well, it is a gangland hit. They say that they think it's a sort of a bunch of kids just, killing white folks in a neighborhood. And it turns out that it was actually a mafia hit. And Michael Keaton's character is trying to get to the bottom of the story before they print the cover of the newspaper that these boys are responsible, because he knows that something else is afoot. And it's just a great movie, but it shows how the inner working of a newsroom sort of breaks down. It's so good. And the editor is played by Robert Duval, and he's an old guy who's like, he's at his wit's end. He's got a daughter who he's estranged from, and there's a backstory with him in the film, which is great. His daughter's played by actress Jill Hennessy. And she has no relationship with him at all, but she's a district attorney or assistant district attorney. And he tries to visit her as he's realizing that he doesn't have a lot of time on this earth. He hasn't seen his grandchildren either. They had a falling out. But he plays these roles that are not complex, but they're all complex older guys. In a weird way, I guess that's what made him versatile. And, of course, people remember him from the Godfather films.
Yeah, he's been an old guy for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really, he is not a standout character.
He wasn't. I don't think he was
I don't think so either.
A big character in
He wasn't. He was not a standout character in the Godfather films. I guess people mention it like Dave Mager did during the news. I guess people mention it because Godfather is a huge film.
Yeah, and he was a part of it.
Yeah, and being a part of that is a big deal. What's the guy who played Sonny? James Caan. James Caan plays Sonny in the first Godfather. That's a big role, and he dies so early, in the first film, that he sort of carries on throughout the trilogy. Robert Duvall is in all the films.
Yeah.
And plays a background character that you wouldn't even remember unless somebody told you. So, but, he had a wonderful life, and there's so many movies out there that he's done. I will tell you right off the bat, there isn't one that you could pick up out of his group, out of his repertoire, that you wouldn't be satisfied with. And, of course, there is no other better than I love the smell of napalm in the morning, and that is from Apocalypse Now. One of the most famous lines ever delivered on screen.
Isn't it crazy that 95 means you lived a long life when it's such a short amount of time compared to time as
you think that 95 isn't? You don't think? Well, yes, time in and of itself.
Time never stops, and we're just like little bitty moments in the time that never stops.
I'm stunned at the fact that I keep looking at the way the years have gone by, and I learned this. It's so funny. I learned this when I used to do. Remember, I used to do my weekly spots with Todd Feinberg here.
Yeah.
And I remember this, and it's so important that you said that. So one day I've got to do a spot with Todd here, and I'm rushing to just get set up and do it because this is it. At this time, it's the only radio I'm really getting other than filling in. And the boy calls me from school, and he says, "Hey, can you come and pick me up?" And I'm the only person who can. So I jump in the car, I run to go get him, and I drive back. So I'm driving back. And I'm about half a mile away from the house and getting ready to set up to do my spot here with Todd. And the guy behind me in a 25-mile-per-hour zone is doing 15 in a one-laner.
I know you're going crazy.
Oh, man, I was furious. Furious. And here's the thing. I hadn't even thought of a topic yet. I was like, I'm so busy trying to get the boy, and now I'm so frustrated with this guy in front of me. I'm saying, I'm going to, and then as I'm getting frustrated about it, finally he moves on. I get to the house, I get inside, I set up, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, time is an incredible thing. And what I talked to Todd about that day was, I didn't realize it until that moment. We are in a rush to get to the end of something and ignoring the journey.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with that is how often in my life I was rushing on Monday to get to Friday and not realizing that I'm trying to literally erase Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in between. Like, I'm so eager to get rid of every moment so I can get to the day that I want, realizing that all I'm doing is rushing time instead of taking it.
Instead of, taking time.
And I'm realizing that now as I get older. It's like, boy, we are missing so much in the moment. And that was the day that I realized, stop getting upset at traffic jams. Stop getting upset about, people moving slowly in line or something, or the fact that you have to wait. These are moments you should be taking advantage of. This is God telling you, hey, you could be doing something productive now. You could be utilizing this time to do something great. And I did. I realized it's like.
Yeah, I stopped because I had crazy road rage too. And I stopped it by thinking, all right, God, you're saving me from an accident.
Yep.
Or because of the way the way things happen to certain people sometimes, you have to sit back and say, wow, the timing that had to occur. Everything that happened from 9 a.m. to 11:07 a.m. when he got into this accident had to happen in that way.
Perfect.
For him to be at that precise place at that precise time for the accident to happen.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, maybe I need to throw this time off, this time off a little bit. Don't rush this, don't rush that, or sometimes you do have to rush. You have to kind of be able to balance that out.
I had a client of mine who I got from AA. Her name is Kim. And Kim is so profound in some ways. I always loved when she used to share at the meeting I used to go to in Virginia, because I always thought that what she was saying was too complicated for me, or maybe she was just rambling. But she told this great share once. She said, she says, one day I arrived at a meeting and I was talking about how my day had gone and how my drive was coming to the meeting. And she said, this day was perfect because I got out the house at the right time and I got on the road. There was no traffic and every light was turning green as I drove down the street. And she goes, I just want to be grateful to God for all the green lights that got me here to the meeting on time. She says, after the meeting, when everybody's regrouping and they're doing the meeting after the meeting and people are chit-chatting, a woman walked up to her and tugged her by the arm and she says, remember to thank him for the red lights too.
Wow.
Man, so when she told that, I went, that's it. That's it. It's like, it's not about just getting everything going your way.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it doesn't go your way, there's a reason for that, too.
There's a reason for that, too. It happens to me all the time. I get so wound up in the plan that I had prepared mentally and wrote down, and then I'm doing the actions now, but now I got to step 3, but for some reason, I can't get to step 4, and now I'm extremely upset about that. And then all of a sudden, after I calm down, something else happens. Yeah. Put me on a different path, and then I end up at step 4 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's all a matter of perspective. And you know what? You have to step away from it and just go, you know what? This isn't mine. This isn't my decision. All of this is going to happen on its own, whether I like it or not. I can't force the issue. But you're right about that whole thing about time. It's like we don't even realize 95 years is a hell of a lot of time. But if you are not paying attention, as Ferris Bueller said, if you don't slow down, you could miss it.
Yeah.
If you don't slow down, you could miss it because it happens so breakneck speed. Teresa says, hi, Reese. I heard you talking about Robert Duval, and I wanted to mention another really good movie that he was in you might not be familiar with. It's called The Apostle. I do know the movie. I did not see it, though. If you've never seen it, I recommend it. It's one of the last – he's one of the last good actors, and I enjoyed his films. And I agree with you, Teresa. Like I said, there's not a thing that you could pull out of his repertoire that you wouldn't be satisfied with because his character is always good in it. Even Colors, which is, again, just a gangland film, it's still a good movie. And Robert Duvall just comes across as sort of an – likable everyman. Does that sound I think that's that. Yeah, likable everyman. And even you said when you met him, he was just like any other characters in this film, just a likable everyman.
Yeah, he was a good guy. He declined my picture offer at first, and then we started talking, and about 15, 20 minutes later, he said, "Come on, man, let's take this picture," and he took the picture with me. So that number one, it let me know that I may not be so bad to talk to. And number two, let me know that he's a person that can, have his mind changed in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig says that he was a great cowboy. I loved him in the Lonesome Dove miniseries. Never saw those, but Lonesome Dove was a big film. That's also Lonesome Dove is where Ricky Schroeder changed his name to Rick Schroeder. Don't ask me how I know that. I just remember that was when he started referring to himself as Rick Schroeder. He wanted to get past the silver spoons moment in his life.
He didn't like the Y.
He didn't like the Y. Yeah, exactly. When we come back, and again, one more round of applause for Robert Duval. And thank you for all of your incredible work, sir. Rest in peace. When we come back, so I got this alert in the news, and I went to go check it out. It turns out that whatever is being said on X and everywhere else is a bit of an exaggeration, but not too far. Not too far of an exaggeration. But I want to take two stories, well, let's say one conversation and this story, and meld them together. I don't know if you've heard this. You may have seen it on X, but if you haven't, go look it up. A lot of people are posting that at 5 o'clock in the morning, in New York City, that they are hearing the Islamic call to prayer on loudspeakers throughout the city. Now, this isn't new, folks. Back in 2020, former Mayor Eric Adams allowed mosques to play the call to prayer on loudspeakers on Fridays and during Ramadan. But many people now are saying that it is growing, and it is not just on those days. I don't know which is true, but there are a lot of people who are agitated about this. When we come back, I want to explain to you why this story is relevant in the November election in Connecticut. Listen to what I'm saying to you. It's not so much about the Islamic call to prayer. It is about what you folks keep telling me, and that is, Reese, nothing is going to change. Stand by, go nowhere. I will make the connection between the two when we return. It's Reese on the radio right here live on WTIC News Talk 1080. I'll take your phone calls too at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We'll be back.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio on WTIC. You can give us a call at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. So last night I'm having dinner with Ruddy, his wife, Marcy, and we're having a great time. Roseanne and I are talking about how we met. Ruddy and his wife are talking about how they met. We're having a great time. Turns out that Ruddy's wife knows my friend Chris, who was here last week Thursday, knows his wife. Small world. Turns out that everybody knows everybody. But I'm liking that. It's kind of like my big dream. It's like where everybody knows everyone. I tried to get away from that from Queens, but I got older, and I understand that's important. I want to give a big shout out to Frank later on. I'll talk about that later on in the show. Anyway, we're sitting around and having dinner. Ruddy says something to me that many of you have said on this program, and I almost feel like if you guys keep saying it, it's going to be a reality, which is why I'm trying to break it. I'm trying to break this attitude that nothing is going to change in Connecticut. Because you guys are missing something. And that is, you don't know how much it's going to. And that's something you have to recognize. In New York, people said over and over again to me, Reese, you can't fight City Hall. Nothing's going to change. They said it all the time. I hear that from politics all the time. Nothing's going to change. Why bother? And I'm like, if you don't bother, you have no idea how much things are going to change. Now, I want you to think about that, folks. Ed Koch, former mayor of New York City. David Dinkins, former mayor of New York City. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York City. What was his name? Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City. Bill de Blasio, former mayor of New York City. Eric Adams, former mayor of New York City. It was up until Eric Adams that we never had a citywide, you can hear it on your block, call to prayer on loudspeakers. Until the politics became more and more progressive. That's exactly what's happening here in Connecticut. You guys keep saying nothing's going to change. But guess what, folks? Everything is going to change because it's not about what you think it is. The change is not what you think it is. So you keep saying, Democrats are going to win. Democrats are going to win. And what do you think Democrats do when they continue to win? They keep saying to themselves, you know what? They're right. We're going to win anyway. Let's go bolder. You know what? Last term, we didn't do enough crazy-ish. Let's go crazy. You know what? What did Lamont say? Lamont turned around and says, I'm going to veto that housing bill. Oh, I got a 63 approval rating? You know what? Let's rethink that. What the hell? Let's do it. You think that's crazy? Guess what, folks? They're doing it again. SB 151. Let's go one step further. They're never going to stop us. You keep saying nothing's going to change. Really? Not according to Democrats. They're changing every day. The poop sandwich keeps getting bigger and bigger. That's what they're doing. They don't care. Because they know that you won't. The fight is out of you. They've literally beaten you to submission. What are they going to do? Leave? So what? Who needs them? We're just going to have a super duper majority. Keep going. Yeah, man. Listen, and don't worry about it, folks. Our supporters are too stupid to know what's happening to them. We'll just keep telling them that it's for the good of us all. We're better than that. Yeah, we'll just keep telling them, no, these are good things. We're going to put poor people in nice neighborhoods, and everybody's going to get along because that's who we are. And if it goes straight up the hill, if it goes up Poop Creek without a paddle, who cares? They all believe the same thing, and they'll muddle through it. Just a momentary setback. Sure, my daughter got attacked in the middle of the day. Sure, Grandma got dragged in her shopping cart. Sure, the ne'er-do-wells are living in a neighborhood and throwing their natural ice cans all over the ground. What? So it doesn't matter. We're doing it for the good of humanity. And there's no Republican or conservative around to stop us because they all left. Nothing changes? Not without you. You keep thinking you're giving up. You keep saying nothing's going to change. Well, you keep ignoring the elephant in the room, and that's everything that's changing with it. These people are emboldened. They listen to you. I try to tell people all the time, like, what was the craziest part about the war? And even post 9/11, I'll never forget it. I'll keep mentioning it. I don't care how much you guys get sick and tired of me saying it to you. And it's that interview on 60 Minutes where the guy is talking about Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. when they're waterboarding him 183 times or whatever it was. When he says to the Black Ops guy, your American liberal media is going to castigate you for what you've done to me. It doesn't matter if I was responsible for taking those buildings down. It doesn't matter how many Americans were killed. They're going to side with me. I will go there and I will shoot up an entire school. But after you waterboarding me, they will still side with me. And guess what, folks? They did. And it's a shame when the enemy knows you better than you know yourself. It's a shame that your enemy knows you better than you're willing to act. That they know you're going to give up. That they know you are going to sit idly by and let them run roughshod over you. That's the reason why I can't take it. I hear these people say it all the time, and I look at them, I was like, look at the give up on these people. I'm from New York City. Born and raised in New York City. And look, I don't care whether or not Muslims find any offense to it. But what happened on September 11th will ring like a bell in my head over and over and over again. And it will always ring in my head that those sons of people were celebrating that. And right now, they are poking people in the face and saying, ha ha, we won. People who still believe that America deserves worse, deserves another 9/11. Those same people. To have them turn around now and have the Muslim call to prayer and actually have enough power in the city to say, we want more of it. And we've got mayors who are being elected to acquiesce. And now we're sitting here in Connecticut and people are telling me, people who I know usually I would call if I were in a fight, telling me they've got none left in them. You keep telling me nothing's going to change. You have no idea how much life is going to change. Some of you can leave. Others can't. And I'm sorry, there are some people here who are too ignorant to know better. Now, I say this because I know what risk it takes, but you know what? If you want to help, please help. But if you don't, I'll just take it on myself. And I said to Ruddy last night, I am going to stomp the yard in Connecticut. I'm going to go in every community that I can. And I'm going to tell these people that if they don't pay attention, the state that they live in, they won't recognize. If they don't get the word out, I don't care if they don't vote for Aaron Stewart, Ryan Fazio, Betsy McCoy, I don't care who them, but they cannot vote for more of what Ned Lamont is going to get a blank check to write on this state if he is elected again. You have no idea how much is going to change. Please stop saying it. Everything is going to change because you are going to give them license to if you do nothing. I know you don't think it's worth it, but I don't know. Like I said, I hope you hear it. I hope these words mean something to you because they should. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm done. I know people thought that winning in 2024 was enough. It's never enough, man. It's never enough. These people will never give up. It isn't about whether or not the American people agree with them. It is not about that. They don't even care. Look at the voter ID issue. 71% of African Americans want voter ID. And what do the Democrats say? Screw them. They don't know any better. They're blacks. What do the blacks know? We know what's best for them. They're going to come out here now and have an opinion? Who's listening to them? Damn sure ain't the Democrats. But guess what? Why aren't we taking advantage of that? We should be right in the hood. We should be right in their neighborhoods. And we should be saying to them, do you know the Democrats said that even though 71% of you say that you want voter ID, they said nope. We should be going to women saying, you know what? There are people out there saying who women are too stupid to get a birth certificate correction. Too dumb. These are not the majority. They are not. But it's sad. I'm just telling you, folks, you have no idea what's about to happen. And they're doing it right in your face. And guess what? Guess who's helping them? The media. This new bill, nothing. House bill, what was it, 5044? Nothing. Still. And everybody's giving them cover. Everybody's talking about it online, but you keep saying nothing's going to change. But guess what? If nothing's done, these things that's the roadmap to change. It's going to change everything. Soon you won't even recognize the place. We'll be back.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Someone just wrote to me that the Republicans will never win because the Republicans have nothing better to offer. Now, I love the way the question or statements like that are set up, because what I would just say to that, and you can respond to me if you want, the person who just sent it to me, if you could respond to it by just simply answering this question. And what's all the good-ish that the Democrats are promoting that should win them elections? Just seriously, what's all the goodies that everybody in Connecticut is voting for? Because if the Republicans have nothing to offer, then it's clear that the Democrats are offering them so much more. So what's the goodies? What's the good stuff that the Democrats are promoting? And I'll give you 4 hours. I'll give you 3 hours to figure it out, because I bet you can't figure out one at all. Let's go to the phones. Jim is in Waterbury. How are you, Jim?
Reese, good. Yeah, like they're just back in session. They're all now. I'm a big Second Amendment man, being a Marine.
Right.
They're trying to pass 3 anti-gun bills. Mm-hmm. One is HB 5487. Say someone breaks into your house and steals your gun, you'll be civilly liable. Mm-hmm. If the thug steals your gun and it's used in a crime.
That's right.
That's one. Then there's House Bill 6180, legislation forcing in-home daycare operators to disclose that they have firearms in their home or close down. Then there's another legislative bill, HB 7137. Say somebody's arrested on bogus charges in another state. If he comes to Connecticut, he's denied due process. And
that's interesting.
It's just like the red flag law. You can have an argument with somebody, anybody, and they'll come and seize your guns, and you have no due process.
Again, my point exactly. So you agree with my sentiment that people keep talking about how nothing is going to change in Connecticut, why bother? But again, it's only giving Connecticut, as we see, the legislature, this is only giving them, I would almost say, the wherewithal to change anything and everything, or to get their socialist, if not communist, dreams to come true.
No, they're communists. You have trying to take away your Second Amendment right.
Indeed.
From legal citizens and let the criminals run wild.
Look, I understand the supermajority idea, but the fact that even with the supermajority, you cannot find a Democrat with a soul to not go with the party lines, because some of this stuff is beyond the pale, and they won't even push back against it, which is, again, what makes it so baffling. You know, it's incredible. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Well, wait, they're running a commercial I saw about gun violence on children. And I see it on and they don't tell the full truth. They're just showing white kids. But They go right by the fact that 60% of the people killed, it's because of drug gangs in the cities.
Right.
And black children and innocent bystanders. 60% are killed by gun violence, and maybe more.
And it's not even covered. And it's not even covered in the ad because, again, what it is supposed to pull on the purse strings, which shows how ridiculous these ads are. Because the objective is to appeal to the voter by saying, "Look at all the white kids that are being killed," ignoring the fact that it's black kids, and then making that the issue. It's an incredible sort of switcheroo. But these people, again, that's exactly how silly they are. I got to take a break coming up. Thanks, boss. It's actually pretty sad. It is. I told you who these folks are. Nobody's going to care about the black kid getting shot in New Haven. Nobody cares. Bridgeport, nobody cares. When they see that, they know exactly who their voters are. Hey, do you want your black kids getting shot? We need to change gun laws. I don't know. It just makes me, it makes me angry. No, unfortunately, nope. They did not write back to tell me where the Democrats are writing great policies. Nope, still can't tell me. That's because Democrats don't know policy. Democrats don't care about policy. What they care about is real simple, which also explains exactly how simple they are. Democrats care about people. I guess that's policy. Republicans don't care about people. Democrats care about people. Yeah, okay, what policies have they enacted that cares about people? I don't know. I know they just care. That's what you get when you have a stupid electorate. Just happens. You can be mad, but it's true. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. Is an unnecessary feud emerging? I'll explain it when we return, and it has to do with the governor's race. It's Reese on the radio. Let's get to some news with Dave Mager.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
I don't know if any of you actually read my Substacks each week, which is upsetting, but it's okay. A lot of you do. And I want to thank all of you for doing that. It's a pleasure. But some of you do not. And I'm not published anywhere else other than in Connecticut Sentinel. And I thank them every week they post my article up there. This week's article in particular, because I was going to talk about it on Friday when Roseanne was here. And I ran the risk of coming in hot. So I thought about it over the weekend. And I figured I'd just write an article about it. And which I did. So I hope you check it out. Go to my Facebook page. You can find it there. If you're on X, it's Reese on the radio on X, or Reese, you know how to find me on Facebook. But it is, the title is, There's No Need for a Fight, but Coronations Don't Help. And the premise of this is how do we call it? An internal poll by On Message Inc. that Aaron Stewart's group put together or put out. And in the poll, it says that Aaron Stewart has a 39% advantage as far as name recognition in the gubernatorial race. Ryan Fazio comes in at 16 and Betsy McCoy at 9. Undecided is at 34%. Now, this immediately got a response from the Fazio team. I don't know if there was a response from Betsy's camp. At least I didn't read it, and if I did, I don't remember it. But Fazio's camp called it fake. And now there's another article about it that came out today, and it's sounding a little contentious, at least between Fazio and Aaron Stewart's campaign. And I was talking to somebody last week about this when it came out, because I didn't know how to respond to this. And when I say respond to it, it's just me personally. Like, I didn't know. It was like, I didn't know what to make of that. I got a text message from Aaron's team with that poll. I read it. And I was like, when the person texted to me, I said, what is this about? And they wouldn't respond, which I thought, wow, you don't respond. I just asked you a simple question. Why are you sending this to me? And they didn't respond. They sort of went around it and just said, hey, your campaign manager will be contacting you next week. I'm like, okay, I guess my question's going to get ignored. And then I started thinking about it. And I just started doing some research about when these polls, when they come out, how they usually come out. There were some things that were bothering me about it. Then I read WTNH did an article about the on-message poll. And WTNH writes, which, by the way, WTNH, you should be ashamed of yourself for writing this line. WTNH writes in the article, we obtained the on-message ink polling. No, you didn't. You had it sent to you, like I did. You didn't obtain it. You didn't even want to look. You weren't even looking for it. You obtained it. Someone sent it to you. Just admit that. Saying you obtained it is like going through our internal operation. We have secret inside plants who found this document and got it to us. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. You got it like I did. Anyway, and I didn't know how to react to it again. In my own way, in my head, I'm just going, does this send a message to the voters? And if you do, what message is it? Is it a good message? Is it a bad message? Hear me out. And this is primarily what my article is about, as I'm sort of summing it up, but you should still read it. Just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com, and you can find my Substack right there at the end. Anyway. Some voters can read into that and just say, oh, okay, Aaron Stewart, 36%. Why bother? Well, 39%, I apologize. Why bother? Race over. I guess she's the candidate. Why are we going through all of these events? Why are we listening to anybody else? You know, Connecticut has spoken. And then there are the others, who some of the people I spoke to were very agitated by this. Very, in fact, angry, I might add. There were people who were going, damn, that's kind of foul. Because some people feel like, I don't know about you, but in my circles or where I go, they are supporting such and such. Some of the people I talk to in my neighbors are really, really gung-ho about this person, not necessarily Aaron Stewart. And some people think that the poll, again, this is them talking to me. And I wish I could say it was only a splatter here and there. No, the response was overwhelming. It was like, dude, this is kind of inside baseball, like, you know, run-of-the-mill establishment stuff. People don't like that. It's one of the biggest problems they had in this state in the last couple of elections, that it's always the people who are supposed to be there. And when we like someone, they get ignored. So we all just back the person who's supposed to be there. Yeah, I'll never forget in 2008 when I'm covering the primary between Obama and Hillary Clinton. And Hillary is at that diner, and she just sits there and she starts kind of like weeping a little bit. It's like, I just really care about the country. And then behind the scenes, what prompted that, this is the part that really bothered me, was that behind the scenes, what Hillary was telling everybody was that this was supposed to be mine. I was supposed to. It wasn't supposed to be some upstart. Who the heck is this Barack Obama guy? He's not supposed to be here just taking over my spotlight. This is mine. And that's kind of the sentiment that's going on right now. As that people felt like that poll coming out was like not a good time. It just felt really rushed and really dismissive of the other candidates who haven't really had an opportunity to meet with the people. So, I say again, At the end of April, we are having this gubernatorial debate. Ryan Fazio is committed. Betsy McCoy has committed. And Ellen Stewart is not officially committed, but I'm going to be speaking to her people sometime this week. But let me say this. This isn't about Aaron. This isn't about Ryan. This isn't about Betsy. And this isn't about anybody else for that matter. Even this gentleman, forgive me if I don't have his name, but Harry Aurora. It isn't about him either. It is about you. And this is not about mudslinging, which, again, I already see is starting between two camps. A little bit of mudslinging, which is exactly what nobody wants. People are not focused on Fazio and Aaron Stewart, or Betsy and Fazio, or Betsy and Aaron, about them fighting each other. Nobody wants that. And if that starts happening, that's not going to be a good look. And it's always, and I put it to you this way, this is not going to be like the NFL. When the person gets disqualified for reacting to the shoving, usually it's the second guy who throws the haymaker, that gets flagged. Everybody recognizes that. It's the reaction that always gets flagged. That's the case in the NFL, not in this one. It's the person who throws the first punch in this one that's going to get noticed. And it's not going to look right. And I'm going to be careful when I say this because I'm not indicting anybody, but this kind of looks like a first punch. At least the way that other people are reading it. And look, I've done this for a long time, folks. A long time. And I can say this for every time I've ever done it. I won. I'm a winner. I don't lose here. I don't say that to brag. I say it because it's a fact. And if I tell you that it doesn't work and it's a bad idea, I ain't joking. Go in another direction. You've got to let the people of Connecticut to decide. Because when they decide, when they feel like they are indeed in a fight, and they respond and they do what they're supposed to do, that's how you win. And the best man wins. The people have spoken because the people feel as though they have been empowered. And then they strike. They go, we did this, and everybody goes, and there's no bitter, anger about having lost. It was like, hey, we put in a good fight. Everybody was decent and respectful of one another, and they all gave their plan. And I think that any one of these people are capable of taking out the status quo and winning that election. And everybody can get around it. Why? Because there's no hard feelings. There's no infighting. Screw your guy. No, screw your guy. There's none of that. There's party unity. And I'm telling you, that's the biggest problem we have here. Aside from the fact that a bunch of people saying nothing's going to change, it's the party unity folks who just don't get behind anybody. And look, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to rub some people the wrong way, some people that I actually respect. Not all of them are great candidates, but the hell, they're better than Lamont. Some more so than others, yes, I understand. But they're still better than Lamont. And to be honest with you, I would rather you get behind somebody who can beat him than just get behind somebody who everybody says can beat him. Because I'll tell you right off the bat, consultants are always wrong. And I tell them to their face. In the campaigns I worked, I look them right in the face and I go, you have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what you're getting paid, but somebody needs to take every paycheck you've ever earned. You suck at this. That's why you show up on television telling everybody how good you are, how smart you are. Yet when they look at your resume, you haven't won a thing. Consultants are there to make money, not win. They are status. They are pundits. They are people looking for TV and radio jobs. These people are not winners. They don't know the people because they are in a bubble. They think they know winners. They think they know people. And yet you never see them around. And when you see them around people, they're like all edgy. Hi, how are you? Hi. I'm just saying. I've seen these folks. They don't even know how to interact. I've talked to a couple of people on the campaign. I walked up to them and said, hey, I know you. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like, hey, don't I know you? They don't even know how to just have a regular conversation with the guy. And say these people understand. These people know data. They sit behind computers, punch numbers. Doofuses, all of them. Let's go to Z. Z's in Connecticut. Who's Z? How are you?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Reese?
Yes, it's Reese. How are you?
Uh-huh. The Mossad did 9/11, you stupid.
Z, in the future, never, ever, ever set up that slowly. Never set up that slowly. You have to start off right at the back. Say all the curse words really, really early. As soon as I pick up the phone, you can't put the phone down and wait for the phone to pick up. And then when I pick up the phone, you go, is this Reese? Am I on? No! Act like you're always on. Start as you mean to go on, loser. It was a nice try. I give you an E for effort. Adam, what's going on, Adam? How are you?
Oh, how are you, Reese?
What's going on?
I'm in a store. I got to pay the lady. But Nancy Guthrie, Megyn Kelly is saying it's looking more and more like a murder, not an abduction. She feels sorry for the family, you know?
Yeah, I think, it's funny. Roseanne said that to me this morning as we were watching the news. She says to me, she goes, look, I know this sounds mean to say, but I don't. She goes, this is an 84-year-old woman with a pacemaker. I kind of feel like everybody's spinning their wheels, for a woman who may not still be with us. And I think that we've gotten to that place.
Yeah, it's very sad, very tragic. And you just got to wonder who the heck and why,
Yeah, I just saw a statement, or at least somebody on some news network said something along the lines of that this may have been a robbery gone wrong. So
starting to look like it.
Yeah.
Either way, I'll keep listening, sir. Have a great day, all right?
Thank you, man. You too. Let's go to Dave, who's in Brantford. Hello, Dave.
Yeah, that's me. Reese, how are you?
What's going on?
Stories. I'd like to connect them. I read a lot of leftist literature, mostly about 2/3 of my reading. And the one I read this weekend was called Church and State, put out every month by Americans United for Separation of Church and State.
Yeah.
And because that's in the First Amendment, most of us agree, yes, it should be. But the whole issue, all 20 pages, was about the enemy is white Christian nationalism.
Wow.
And I was thinking, not a word about Sharia law or that kind of thing taking over.
Right.
But, here's where I want to connect it. You were talking about, you started the show with the call for prayer, the Muslim call for prayer in New York City.
Yeah.
And the public spectacle of loudspeakers booming out. And are we going to allow that? And also the Don Lemon story where he invaded a Catholic church as a sacred ceremony.
Great connection.
And what I would like to mention is one of the lines, and I'll read it exactly by one of the writers. This is a quote. At the Christian nationalist meetings I attended, a Christian would likely end up sitting next to, another Christian. And so they don't even call it church, Sunday church. They call it a Christian nationalist meeting.
Wow.
And I think this is at the root of what Don Lemon did. It wasn't a sacred religious ceremony that he invented. It was a Christian nationalist meeting.
Exactly.
And therefore it was ripe. And this organization I previously named is a 501c3 organization, so they're tax exempt, and they proudly call themselves nonpartisan. Obviously they are not. It is liberally sprinkled with the word Trump. And I just think, white Christian nationalism, it's not even religion. It's a slur. That the ordinary Protestant denominations are a racist cabal that's trying to wipe out gay people. And
well, you know what it is, right? You know what Christian nationalism is slang for, right? It's the Klan.
Yeah, well, I hardly think the Catholic Church in New England or Minnesota is anywhere near that. That was the point I wanted to make.
No, I appreciate you making it. It's a perfect connection.
One more thing. Take the temperature, audience. I still favor Aaron Stewart because in the liberal neighborhood I live in, I have to make a sale. I have to convince even one person to switch from Democrat to Republican, and she's going to be the easiest sale for me.
Okay.
Though I do like Fazio's kind of nerdy scientific approach, issue by issue, to things like electricity. How can we sell and cause to happen natural gas and nuclear?
Yeah.
And I think Fazio's got the science down better than Ms. Stewart does. However, to my liberal neighbors, it's a lot easier to sell her.
Totally understand that. Totally understand that. And again, I'll tell you this, Dave, what you are exactly as you just said, I hear more and more every day from the people who, again, and this is maybe to my point, and tell me if you agree with me here. This is more to my point that the two of them work better together than they do apart as far as being conservatives concerned. I get the whole point of how you can sell Aaron Stewart, but it's not like Fazio isn't a clear choice as well. It's like they both have their strengths.
Young, energetic, and not too many warts. I like them both.
Exactly.
I'd certainly support either of them in the general election. And as per Reagan's 11th commandment, I will not say anything evil about any of them. Thanks for letting me on.
You got it, boss man. I love it when you do. That's such a great point. Again, I've got nothing against either of them. I don't care who's running. I know they're far better than what we have, without a doubt. You know? And I don't think anybody can disagree with that. We'll take a break. We'll come back. I'll finish up with these calls when we return, so stand by for that. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
Hey, we are back and got a couple of comments inside the chat room. I'll get to those in a second, plus an interesting question from Harold. Harold, by the way, let me know that you are still in the chat room so I can answer yours specifically, and I'll read Zach's as well. But you got to let me, Harold, let me know if you're in, because I'm not going to waste my time answering your question if you're not in the chat room. So tell me that you're there. With that, let me go to an oldie but goodie. Rudy, calling in Florida, is back. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Winners never lose and losers never win.
Damn right.
Nothing's ever going to change because change comes from within.
I agree with that, but what do you when I say that, you get my point when I say that people keep saying, Reese, why bother? Right. Nothing's going to change. But that's exactly what happens when they don't vote, because Democrats go all in on some of the crazy stuff.
Right. And you got some smart callers that could probably do something about it. Like, I don't know why Dave isn't running for, like, state rep in his area.
Agreed.
He's no dummy, and he's common sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why Joe from Simsbury, he played around running against, for the 5th District against, what's her name, Johanna Hayes.
He did? He thought about that?
We talked about it on the radio with Tom Shattuck.
Oh, wow.
And his friends all backed him. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Aaron Stewart is a millennial liberal Democrat. She ran under her moderate Republican father's name. Mm-hmm. She is not a Republican. And you're not going to get dummy people, like our friend from Wallingford, to vote Republican because Aaron Stewart's moderate and pro-life and all that. It's like you keep voting for the same dumb Republicans.
What do you think? Right? Here's my point about that. And I know that, again, you living out of state, and I know that many people have made that claim about Aaron Stewart. But aside from all of that, here's my question to you with that being said. Do you believe that this poll that she put out alienates voters in Connecticut, and it creates that sort of inside baseball Republican rift that I was talking about?
Well, that's how the whole state works, whether it's Democrat or Republican. It's like low information voters, mm-hmm. and you've already said it. The average Republican voter has their tail between their legs, and they've given up. And you haven't even done primaries yet.
Yeah.
If I like Ryan Fazio, he's got some flaws, but You got to come out and make. How did Trump even win? No one gave Trump. I'm not.
You're right there. I was one of them. I know what you're going to say. I was one of them.
he came down the escalator swinging baseball bats and machetes in every hand, and he busted everything up. He had the whole Republican Party lined up on the debate stage. Marco Rubio, Cruz, Bush. He destroyed them all.
And they're all heavy hitters.
But what did he do? He pulled people out of every freaking state that were sick of these progressive liberals that hadn't voted in years to go register to vote, independent or Republican or whatever. They voted Trump. I'm not advocating for Trump.
No, I get what you're saying.
70% of them is good, but you need someone to get people off their butts that are awake. I know there's got to be Democrats in Connecticut saying, I don't want Muslim prayers in the middle of the night. I don't want my daughter walking to school getting attacked. Like, look what's going on in England.
Yeah, I know. Look,
and Sweden is even worse. And there's got to be people that are awake. But if you don't get someone to make it, someone's got to step up and blow it up. And I hope Ryan Fazio's listening. He needs to go full like frontal assault. Like, we're going to blow this state up. I'm going to call out everybody. I'm going to call out Ben Proto, the whole corrupt Republican Party, and just blow it up. Connecticut's a beautiful state. I miss it.
I know you do. I know you do.
I'm not from there. You're not from there. I don't have family there. I got some close friends there. I had a great business there, and they're destroying the state. Reese, my electric bill down here averages $68 to $140 a month.
Yeah.
And I have 1,000 square feet with 3 bedrooms. And my kilowatt hour is like under 6 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah, you got minimal kilowatt hours
right.
in Florida.
So I'm like, and I'm looking at you pay more in those what's that fee called that you have to pay for the deadbeats?
Public benefits charge.
Your public benefits charge is
more than your electric
bill. Of my bill.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
It's insane what they've done to you, and no one's done anything.
Yeah.
And Aaron Stewart gets along to go along, and she's not going to be your answer.
That
has
been the accusation of Aaron, which is again just not. And I apologize cutting you off, but just to get to that point, what I said was earlier. When she put out that poll, when her team put out that poll, every person who responded to me when I posted my Substack, it was the same thing. They said, this is why she is accused of being, anti-party line politics, or at least aligning more with the left in doing something like that, because it's a tactic that the left would use. Now, I'm not accusing her of that, but that's what's being said.
Reese, you could go back. I don't know if they have archives of all the shows, but before Jim Vicich left, which was sometime in 2018, he was out. He was out for about 9 months. He came back and did one final show. He had interviewed her, and they were pushing her for the 2018 election.
Okay.
They've been pushing Aaron Stewart forever. She borrowed so much money to save New Britain that future generations are going to be paying huge property taxes up to pay down that debt that she extended.
I remember, Mark, that was one of the things that Mark in West Hartford was making a lot of guff about when I first got here. And we're talking like well over a year ago. He was screaming about that.
Right. And it's just somewhere someone's got to change it. Someone's got to disrupt. You need a disruptor.
I agree.
I mean, you don't have to be maybe as harsh as Trump, but someone's got to blow the whole thing up. And don't forget, you could put Aaron Stewart in there all the time. She does not have the power of veto. They have a supermajority.
Yeah.
That's why you need guys like Dave, and I'm calling out Joe from Simsbury again. There's plenty of you guys out there, you included, or anyone that keeps calling the show for the last 10 years and complaining, Frank. You all need to run for state rep, because you could put a Republican in the governorship, but they can't block anything.
Yeah, exactly.
We won the governorship. We feel good, but they're going to tax us. They're going to come at you so much harder for putting a Republican in office.
Oh, yeah, they are. You damn right about that. Let me go. I got to get up out of here, but Rudy, thank you so much, man. I missed you a lot, but I'm glad you're still out there, man, fighting a good fight.
I just planted my garden today, just so you know. My tomatoes are in. My watermelon's going in a couple days.
Wow, really? Did you bring up watermelons because of me?
No.
I'm totally teasing.
Give me one second.
Yes.
Two myths about colored people's food. White people. I have more white people eating collard greens down here than the black people I know, and same with watermelon. So all you racist, liberal people from Wallingford, it's not black people food.
Thank you, sir.
Later.
Okay, so Harold is in the chat room. Thank you for that, Rudy. That was actually really, really fun. I'm just going to read this because I've got to do my so-called Black History moment later on today. You are not going to want to miss it. It's one of the silliest stories I've ever heard. I'm going to blend two benchmarks into one. But Harold wrote this question to me, and I'm going to take a couple of minutes to answer it. He says, I think I am a reasonable person and not a hard-line ideologue at all. My question to you is whether racism exists to any significant degree, or is it less systemic than it was in the past and more individually driven? Also, I don't know if you have ever experienced racism, but if so, how did you handle it? Let's answer the question line by line. Racism exists. Yes. To a significant degree? Yes. Is it less systemic than it was in the past? No. It is extremely systemic. You're 100% right in thinking that. Racism exists. It is obviously more prevalent than it ever was, and it is systemic. Now, Harold, I normally wouldn't ask you to do this, but I'm going to need you to stick around for it because in the next break, I'm going to tell you exactly how that is. And it has to do with a court case in the N-word. It's deep. Now, he says, have you ever dealt with racism or experienced racism? How did you handle it? The answer to that is no. I have never experienced racism. In essence, was somebody racist to me and I had an experience? No, I never had an experience. I was at the Port Authority bus terminal, and a homeless man who asked me for money didn't get any from me. And he proceeded to call me the N-word loudly in public while I was with my wife, screaming it at me. Cheap. You cheap. Old white man. I looked at him and I laughed. I had no experience. Racism isn't something that you experience. When you experience racism, that means that it sort of clouds you. It gets itself inside of your blood. I had a episode. I had a situation where somebody used the N-word towards me, but not an experience. Experiences involve plane rides, boats, like taking a cruise, going to visit a friend, long car drives. These are experiences. And I don't think people understand how that word works. Somebody using a racial epithet or you not getting a job because you think of it was, that's something different. But yes, is there systemic racism out there? Yeah, especially when people believe that you should be treated a certain way because of your race. That is racism. It's the epic definition of it. If you think that you should get something or not have something because of your race, that's racism. So if you should receive a job because of your race, that's racism. If you should be given an opportunity because of your race, that's racism. Problem is that there are some people out there who are okay with some kind of racism. When Joe Biden says, if you don't know whether or not to vote for me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black, that's an acceptable racism for you. When somebody tells you that you can't get this job because of the color of your skin and we need to make sure there's opportunity for you to do it, that is a form of racism, which in essence says because of the color of your skin, you are beyond your own individual achievement. Your skin color determines your destiny. That is a form of racism. So me, I have never experienced that, because everything I got was because of who I am and what I'm available, or what I have an ability to do. And if I don't get that job, so what? It means I move on to something else. I don't deserve anything for the color of my skin. I deserve nothing for that, because that's not achieving. It just isn't. I can't pat myself on the back. Whoa, a lot of people try to use that against me. It's funny that liberals will say that I should get a job, because of my skin color. And then when I get a job, they say, you only got it because of your skin color. It's funny how that sort of goes back and forth, right? It's funny. We'll take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. And we'll take a few more phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Unfortunately, I'm going to tell the folks on the lines, you're probably going to have to call me back in the next hour, after the 4:05, so I can take those calls. I see Joe in Simsbury and Frank in Woodbridge. Guys, just get me at the other side of this, because I'm going to go into a couple of other stories, and I'm not going to have enough time for you, so I don't want to waste your time sitting on the phone. So just continue with the show. I promise I'll be back with you in due course. So in the next hour, I want to talk about this, and that's with the Salem Town Council. And this is a wild story, because I couldn't believe how close this race was. But apparently, was it November's election, Democrat Sue Spang squeaked out a razor-thin win by just 3 votes. It was 738 to 735 over the Republican challenger. And the thing about that election that makes me so crazy is that now I'm looking at the town council's, I guess, Facebook page, and it posting some really, really off the wall, I've never understood people who do stuff like this. So if you haven't seen it, I'll show it on the video screen here. If you're watching at ReeseOnTheRadio.com, if you are someplace where you can stop and watch it, I'll describe it to you if you're just listening in your car of what it is. But this is the thing that people talk about when they say how divisive it's gotten in this country. It's not divisive. It has nothing to do with how divisive it has gotten. It is divisive on purpose and by design. And when you can say something like was said here about your fellow, like your neighbors, you only want war. You only want to be a disruptor. Because it can easily be said about you, what you say about others, easily. And much more harsh can be said about you. But I would implore people, don't even go down that lane. Just leave those people alone. When I'll show you what it was, and just to show you how sick these people are. But I can tell you right off the bat, I know that you are a reprehensible piece of trash when you use children to smear people. That's how I know that you are not to be either taken seriously or ever should be invited into polite company. When you use children to smear people, that's how pathetic and disgusting you are. I'll explain that to you in a bit. Stand by.
It's Reese on the Radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Before we get to weather, no traffic today because it is President's Day. Celebrate your favorite president. Mine is always Pop in the same month. That's Ronald Reagan, for all of you who don't know. Anyway, so Salem put out this this cartoon, this political cartoon. And this is it. If you're watching on ReeseOnTheRadio.com, that's what it is. And it shows 2 boys. And One of the boys looks like a red-blooded American boy wearing a red hat and a red shirt with a backpack that's got the American flag on it. And he says, what's worse than a racist authoritarian president? And the kid on the right is wearing a hat with bunny ears, with a flannel shirt and a backpack, who is supposed to be the little boy that had his father run away from him when ICE agents approached. Remember the story everybody was saying, that the little boy was being used as a bait to people in the apartment? Yeah, it's supposed to depict that boy, Liam. And again, remember, the American kid says, what's worse than a racist authoritarian president? And the little Liam boy says, the people who support him are worse than the president. Now, Salem, again, we're talking about an election that was separated by 3 votes. It's like literally down the middle. And why would Salem alienate the other side in such a way? Why would they do something so reprehensible and then use children while doing it? Depicting children talking like adults. And that's such a leftist thing to do. It's despicable. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be. But I know, I've seen your Facebook page. You'll only get worse as you become more and more frustrated. And I hope the right people get angry enough to get rid of you. And get rid of you all out of office, every one of you. Talking about voting you out. You just keep sowing that divide, making sure it happens. You're going to alienate enough people that they just say, yup, you got to go. Enough. I can't live in peace with the constant divide. Let's check weather. We'll be back. More news, more views. We'll take your phone calls as well. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let me take that stupid thing down. Anyway, a couple of things I want to get into in this half hour, and plus your phone calls, so stand by for that. Real quick on the Epstein stuff, because I know a lot of stuff came out over the weekend, which I'm going to go over today and see if we can actually parse some of the good stuff, even the bad stuff out, so that I can break all of this stuff down to you, because I know that so many of you are interested, especially those on the left. You guys are, gung-ho about the Epstein files. Yeah, let's get to the sex stuff. And I know you're just crazy about it, so I promise you I will do everything I can to make sure that I'm like loaded for bear so that we have all of the information for you. But I want to play this because this segment is about one of my favorite things. Democrats doing Democrat things. That's Democrats doing Democrat things. It's Democrats. Now, this is a classic case of Democrats doing Democrat things. I want you to listen. Words matter. That's at least what the left tells us all the time. So listen to former White House press secretary Jen Psaki, now MS Now host, talk about the Epstein files. And I said this to you last week, folks. They don't care about sex trafficking. They care about sex scandals. That's what they want. And they want the sex scandal to be about Trump. But the more and more stuff is released, the less likely it turns out to be. So many people had to quit last week. You know it. Was it Bear Stearns or whatever it was? Somebody had to quit. Everybody's got to quit their jobs now because they have these cozy relationships with Jeffrey Epstein, or at least had. But listen to Jen Psaki. This is important. I'm going to play it once, and then I'm going to play it back to you because it's important that I don't lead the witness here. Listen.
It is Trump, yes, and everybody should continue to dig more about that. But it is the wealthy, the elites, and basically every faction of the world. It's global leaders. It's people in the business sector. It is people in Hollywood, probably. Who knows? It is a bunch of people who think that they can get away with anything.
Now, why is what Jen Psaki said important to my point about sex scandal, not trafficking? Here's why. Jen Psaki is parting her examination of what the Epstein files are supposed to reveal. You'll notice that she says, is, and then says probably. Here's why. Because Jen Psaki is an elitist. And Jen Psaki can't alienate some people. So she can say it is Trump. It is billionaires. And then she gets to Hollywood folks and says, probably. Listen again. Her words.
It is Trump, yes. And everybody should continue to dig more about that.
It is Trump.
But it is the wealthy, the elites, and basically every faction of the world.
She makes that. That's a proclamation, right? The distinction is there. It is these people.
It's global leaders.
Of course, it is global leaders.
It's people in the business sector.
It is people in the business sector.
It is people in Hollywood, probably. Who knows?
Those are the only people who get due process when it comes to Jen Psaki. Yeah, I might want one of those celebrities on my program. I can't alienate the entire group of those folks. But it's always the left's enemies that are being excoriated. All right? It is Trump. It is the business leader. It is the global elite. It's probably Hollywood. Probably them. I'm sure there's a couple of them. They get the probably. Everybody is, which I find amazing. I just thought that was funny as hell. Speaking of also people on the left, another Democrat doing Democrat things. When you tell or ask AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whether or not you should tax the wealthy, well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she is all in. She's got a straight answer for you.
So when you run for president, are you going to impose a wealth tax or a billionaire's tax?
I don't think that I don't think that anyone, and that we don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax. I think that it needs to be done expeditiously.
Yeah, I think it should be done expeditiously, she said. She's all gung-ho about that. This woman hopes to be the next president, and guess what? She is, so far, number 2 in all polling data behind Gavin Newsom. She could very well be the front runner. All you need to do is let Gavin Newsom keep talking. She could be the Democrats' nominee, which, by the way, they tell us they've got a deep bench. By the way, right behind her is Kamala Harris. That's right. AOC and then Kamala Harris. So Gavin, AOC, Kamala. Wow. They are, we were talking about the bench is deep, baby. It's deep. So how do you think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would do on the world stage? I don't know. Let's see. Alexandria, what about the United States position on China as it pertains to Taiwan?
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
I can't wait till you guys vote for her. I can't wait. I cannot wait. She is one of the most popular Democrats in the country. And it's quite likely she's going to run for president in 2028 against J.D. Vance. And Democrats are telling me she's got a shot. Democrats are telling me wholeheartedly, you have no idea how great of a candidate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to be. She is going to run circles around J.D. Vance. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. She was in Munich. They sent her all the way out there. She flew on a plane for hours, and no one told her, you may be asked about geopolitical things. I got it. Tax the wealthy, baby. Tax the wealthy. What do you think the United States should do about Taiwan? Ugh, taxing the wealthy is not going to work here. Come on, liberals. Spin it for me. You guys always talk about how I'm spinning it for Donald Trump. Spin this.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a very long-standing policy of.
God, that's so dumb. I can't even watch it. It's it's just bad. She's going to bone up. I promise you, she's going to be okay. She's going to know exactly what she's talking about a year from now. I promise you. She will know exactly how to answer that question. Someone will throw it back at her and say, one more time, AOC. Can we get it right now? She'll get it right. That's not bad. If you think that's bad, try this on side. This is also Democrats doing Democrat things. This is a person who is a school teacher in New York talking about wealthy people in New York City who may leave the state, businesses for that matter, who may leave the state because taxes are too high. This is a school teacher. Listen to their answer.
What do you say to those folks who say, well, if you tax millionaires, they're going to leave the city, and the top 1% pays 40% of the taxes in the city, so what happens if they leave? What's your response?
Well, that's what I would say. It's like we should take their business, and we run it like for the city ourselves.
So if they take their business to Florida, you feel like you can keep it here?
I mean, they can't leave the building. They can't, just bring their whole entire workforce to Florida, right? They can't bring all of, the resources that they have to, build the business here to Florida, right? That's a whole thing. And that's where we would even say, if we're building a real movement, right, to, stop that, we'd also, make it illegal for them to, actually, leave, right?
Your kid's being taught by him, or at least somebody's kid. Kids are being taught by that teacher. We should make it illegal for the business to leave. They should be forced to take our taxes. They can't just leave the building, they said. They can't just leave the building. Does he know how evictions work? They can't just leave the building. What about the workers? We have to make sure that they stay. We have to make it illegal for them to leave. This is the Democrat Party. This is the Democrat Party. Who is that just posted something to me that just says the Republicans have nothing better to offer? Are you sure? Are you sure? This is what Democrats are proposing? Your name was invoked, so Simsbury Joe is here. How are you, sir?
Hi there. I did. Luckily, I did catch that when I was in the car, and I wholeheartedly agree with virtually everything he said. You got to blow stuff up.
Yeah.
But before I get to my point here, we, and I include myself in this, we always get this level of confidence that the Democrats can't be any more sick or stupid. And here's a couple of things before I get to my main point here. Is that there's a video out there of an ICE agent respectfully talking to a woman in a car in Minnesota and saying, ma'am, just so you know, while you're interfering with us, we were here to capture a child rapist.
Mm-hmm.
And what did she say? I don't care.
That's right.
Right. There is a deep mental illness in these people. This is not a disagreement about, policy or news. That is a deep mental illness. And I'm going to bring in Canadian curling to show my next example of liberal mental illness.
Okay.
So when the Canadians were cheating in curling, I don't know, it's against the rules. I don't know how much of a difference it makes because I don't curl.
Right.
But when the guy was asked about it, first of all, he used profanity during the match against the Swedes when the Swedes said, hey, you were doing this, and he called them out and said, you're a liar. Well, the Swedes had set up a guy with a camera, a guy by the name of Magnus, along that line because they knew the Canadians had been doing this.
Right.
So when the Canadians got caught, what did this guy say? And remember this, because this is what the Democrats and the liberals say about a lot of things in our country. You had no right to set up that camera to catch me cheating.
Right.
I mean, that's liberal narcissism right there.
That's
We're going
right.
to see that with the voting stuff when Trump starts coming out with more of the voting stuff.
Yeah.
You had no right to go into that warehouse and grab those ballots.
Yeah.
You had no right to look in those computers. That's not disagreement. That's mental illness. So here's my main point. I said last week, and I fully believe this is why I like Rudy's call so much, is that things need to get blown up. The definition of insanity, we all know. I don't even need to repeat what the definition is, but, you know, we got to back away somewhat from all the financial discussion, et cetera. And last week I brought up a couple of things. One had to do with the vaccines.
Yep.
And, you know, adults need to realize this is not just about vaccines for kids going to school. This is about adults getting vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
So you want your job, and they tell you need to get a vaccine. You've been through that before. Do you really want to vote Democrat again? You know, the second thing that I had called in about was the housing bill, the affordable housing bill, and what goes on in Glastonbury and what's going to go on in a lot of other towns. Another example. So here's the third thing. There was a caller earlier that gave me this idea. It was the gentleman who was the older gentleman who was a Marine and the gun laws.
Yeah.
We just had another trans shooting massacre, this time in Canada, on children and teachers in a school by a trans person. Right now, according to Elon Musk, so for years, the left would say, what is the most dangerous person that's going to commit a mass shooting?
I saw that.
Well, guess who it is now, folks? Trans people. So what Ryan Fazio needs to do, and Betsy and Aaron, because the facts are on their side and the law is on their side, is while the Democrats are saying, hey, Joe, if a gun gets stolen at your house and someone uses it, we're going to hold you civilly responsible for that, which got to be constitutionally improbable.
Yeah.
But why is it that we're not saying, hey, one of these days we're going to get a couple of trans people and they're going to go into school and they're going to make what Adam Lanza did look like nothing.
Exactly. Pale in comparison.
And they are mentally ill, and they should not have firearms. Why are we not bringing this up and saying trans people should not, by virtue of the mental illness, they should have their guns taken away from them, or they should be left with a six-shot or five-shot revolver? We're using the same logic, but we're going to use it against people that are now becoming the murderers of children in North America.
Yeah.
Why are we not doing that?
That's a very,
Maybe someone's listening and they will do it.
It's a very interesting point, and I saw that poll as well. When I saw it, I was like, literally, I jumped out of my seat, and I went, no way that's the case. You're 100% right. That polling data is incredible that now trans shooters are number one on that list of the most dangerous people. Oh, now I have to go find the poll. Let me take a break. Simsbury, thank you as always, sir.
Thank you.
You got it. Let me find that poll because I saw that too, and I went, damn, that's crazy. We don't have traffic today because, of course, of the holiday, so please enjoy it. But we got some weather coming up, and it's getting warm out there. Finally, we can get rid of nature's litter. We get that snow melted. The cold's coming back? Ugh. There's rain on my parade, literally and figuratively. Let's get some weather. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. Let's do this real quick because it kind of has, I guess, two kind of meanings. Because in one breath, it does fall under
Negro nonsense.
How dare you?
Negro nonsense.
How dare you?
Negro nonsense.
How dare you?
and it's also the stupidest thing I read today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Despite facing nearly 100 criminal charges related to alleged absentee ballot fraud during 2 mayoral races, Democrat Wanda Pataki is among 9 community leaders being honored next Friday evening at a local Black History Month celebration. The event, organized by a community group and not officially by the city, has drawn criticism from some residents who say honoring Geeter Pataki amid the serious pending allegations is inappropriate and undermines trust in the electoral process. Geeter Pataki, vice chair of the Bridgeport Democrat Town Committee and a longtime supporter of Mayor Joe Ganim, faces 97 felony counts in total, stemming from investigations into absentee ballot handling and the 2019 and 2023 Democrat mayoral primaries. The charges include multiple counts of restricted possession of ballots and envelopes, fraudulent voting, and related election law violation. The case is ongoing, and she has pleaded not guilty. Or I say pled. They say pleaded not guilty. No trial date has been set as of this article's publication. And people are saying, like, I can't believe that black leaders of any stripe would say, you know what? We need a 9th person to celebrate this Black History Month with. Who do we got? And let me just say this. Here's what it proves. Deep down, here's what it proves. There's not a lot of good stock. I'm sorry. It just is. The fact that you had to consider her and make excuses, the fact that you had to be this controversial, just shows that you were looking around and you just couldn't find anybody. And you should be saying to yourself, don't be mad at me. You can be mad at me. That's easy. That's easy. That's low-hanging fruit, being mad at me. Look at yourselves. Look at yourselves. Look around. And say, damn. We got nobody? We got nobody? Like, we have drained this community so badly that we had to put Wanda Pataki 91 felony counts. Can you imagine that? You guys, 91 felony counts. Huh? Weren't you guys just making a big to-do about Donald Trump and his 34? This woman's got 3 times that. What are you talking about? Black History Month. You couldn't find anybody? Like a kid with a paper route? Nobody? Damn. Let's check some weather. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this.
It's Reese on the radio.
Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080, WTIC.
I love it when people call me. I love being called, when somebody calls me a know-it-all. That's a black thing. Black folks use that term a lot. I mean, it's like, you're a know-it-all. Yes, I am. Yes. Because I know that a lot of you people know nothing. Somebody like me, just if I know half the things, I'm a know-it-all. Because I know you know nothing. Do you understand that? Look at me when I'm talking to you. It's because you know nothing. Of course it appears I'm a know-it-all. What you're acknowledging is your own ignorance. That's all. There's no need to be upset about it. Just work on it. Work on you. That's a you thing. Me being a know-it-all is a you thing. So you can catch up. Pick up a book. Get out of your bubble. You remember when Chris Rock said that? Huh? So dudes out there, he used the N-word, but the people celebrating that they didn't know anything. Say, yay, what's the capital of Zimbabwe? Say, man, I don't know that ish. And celebrate knowing nothing. And think that you're smearing somebody when you call them a know-it-all. That's like the dumbest smear ever. Yes, I'm a know-it-all. Only a dummy would think that was a slur. It's absolutely embarrassing. Anyway, moving on. I need to get to this story because, boy, is it bad. It involves the N-word. Now, listen, folks, I've got no issues with the N-word. None whatsoever. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't care about it. It's not a big deal. But there's a court case that's on this word. And this is an article written by, I guess what, he writes at The Day, Greg Smith. And it says, is using a racial slur, specifically the N-word, a crime in Connecticut, or is it protected free speech? He writes, that free speech question is at the heart of an appeal to the state Supreme Court that claims that even though a man repeatedly yelling the N-word at a dental assistant in a small examination room, blocking her exit while doing so, his words were constitutionally protected. The case involves a New London area man convicted of breach of peace in the second degree after an incident at a dental office. He argued that his speech, including shouting stupid N-word multiple times in a loud, intimidating manner, fell under First Amendment protections. Connecticut's courts have addressed similar issues before. In the landmark 2020 State versus Liebenguth case, the Connecticut Supreme Court ruled that a white man's repeated use of the effing N-words, let's just say he used that, is protected at a black parking enforcement officers during a hostile confrontation constituted fighting words. These are unprotected for the First Amendment because they are inherently likely to provoke an immediate violent reaction from a reasonable person. Boy, they should have given me this case. You know, as a graduate of Law and Order University, I got to get that sound effect. I would have told you that this is a problem. So, and I can tell you the whole thing about this case. You know, he's in a dental office. The woman does something to move his glasses, and if he doesn't like it, he jumps up and he screams at her and he calls it a stupid N-word. Okay, fine. He's screaming at her and she cries. She's very, very distraught and very scared. And so he was charged with breach of peace because the judge is saying that the use of the N-word is a fighting word, even though the case shows that the woman was crying. She was not prompted to punch him in the mouth. She cried, and she was intimidated. And saying that, in essence, because it's a fighting word, that it's not protected speech, even though her reaction was not to fight. It was to cower and cry. That doesn't make any sense to me, but that's where I would make the argument. So listen to my reason here. Hear me out. Because I know what some people are going to say. Well, you're protecting the use of the N-word. Yes. I said it wholeheartedly. I'm protecting the use of the N-word. You don't want me to not protect it. Because if I, and I'm going to tell you, if I had my way, I would destroy the rap industry. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The little black boys wouldn't use it either if it was me. So it can't be both. Is it not the same N-word? Is it not the same N-word? If it's a fighting word, it's a fighting word, right? So all the little so-called hip-hop gangster rappers here in the Nutmeg State trying to get their demo heard, I'm sure they're using it a lot. Shouldn't they be I mean, these are fighting words, right? Using it should make people angry, right? Okay, but I digress. Let me get back to this particular case. And this is why I'm protecting it. Okay? Should he have used it? Of course not. Absolutely. No. It's rude. It's disrespectful. It's wrong. But people are going to say what they say because people are cruel. They're human. And I understand that people are human and they say things that you're not supposed to say sometimes, but they are protected in doing so. But here's where it gets tricky. If it's a fighting word, hear me out. What happens should the person this particular woman, had hauled off and punched him square in the jaw? What if she had punched him in the face and he had fell and hit his head on a piece of equipment and died? Should she not be charged because he called her the N-word? And these are fighting words. And if he has to be charged with breach of peace, he prompted and provoked her to do what? To fight. So are we giving her the same protections? Or are we giving her protections because are we saying that he violated the law? Calling her the N-word constitutes a fighting word. In essence, you are provoking someone to fight. In my world, that is still illegal. It doesn't matter whether or not they called you the N-word or talked about your mother or talked about your children. Those are words. And once those words create a physical confrontation, in essence, I said something to you, hey, your mother's a worthless, and you swing on me, and I get physically contacted, boom, I am violently hit. You're going to sit up here and tell me that it's because of the words that the person said, which is tantamount equal to the person who was hit or abused or physically hurt or may have suffered serious injury as a result of? You're going to tell me that those two things are the same? Here's what I propose. It's real simple. Makes a whole lot of sense. Be an adult. People are going to call you things. People are going to say things to you. It does not constitute an act of violence. And the judge, any judge for that matter, shouldn't be allowing it. Shouldn't be saying that because I was called the N-word, I get to knock this guy square in the jaw. I don't get to be an adult anymore? I don't get to be a civil human being anymore? Why? Because you called me the N-word? Oh, now I can get savage, baby! You called me the N-word. Come here. Now I got to kill you. Is that what you're telling me? Tell me somebody break that down for me. I would look, with all due respect, I know there's some people who are thinking about how crazy this is, but again, explain it to me, because it's still a word. Please explain to me how it warrants your justification for violence. Just tell me why, because it's a bad word? That's it? It's a reprehensible word? Yeah, I'm well aware of it. But again, your reaction to it is everything. And if you're now saying that now the word is giving you absolution, it's giving you now the right to strike someone. If that's what they're saying, it is a fighting word. Because it could prompt someone to hurt you. It means now that you must be charged with it. Again, call me crazy, but I can't understand it. I'm just using plain old logic here. Zippy says, talking down to people, I can't do that. That is impossible to do, Zippy. There's no such thing as talking down to people. There is. You have to be there first. The assumption is that the person is beneath me. You've placed them there. So I'm not talking down to anybody unless they're already there. So in order for them to be there, they have to be there. Where I'm talking to them, I'm looking square in the eye, not talking down to anybody. I'm talking to them. The position that they sit, their station, is their own. Patronizing and demeaning communication style while an individual speaks to others as if they were less intelligent. I don't get to determine if you're intelligent. That sounds like a you thing as well. This sounds like we may need some therapy. Maybe you need to... You ever heard of the whole idea about, like self? Right? This is a... Come on, I know you know the word. Right. That's self-esteem. It's a self-esteem thing. It involves using superior tone, over-explaining, or use of jargon to assert dominance over creating an imbalance of conversation, reducing trust. Key aspect examples of patronizing tones, phrasing, using phrases like, let me explain this to you in simple terms for you. No, that, sir, that's condescending. That was intentional. Yes, that was intentional. You got me there. Dead to rights. Accompanying words with smirking, eye-rolling, or dismissive attitude, belittling behavior, interrupting, lecturing, or treating adults like children, backhanded compliment. Hold on, here you're describing the Democrat Party. You're absolutely right. Dismissive attitude, belittling behavior, interrupting, lecturing, or treating adults like children. Yeah, that's right. Backhanded compliments. Bless your heart. Insulting someone while appearing to pay them a compliment. I just did that. You did well for someone with little experience. That's right. That's exactly the Democrat Party. Ziggy, if you took something personal from this, then I was talking to you. You know, we have a saying. You should know it. If it don't apply, let it fly. But you wrote this entire missive to tell me that I affected you. Or as we like to say, infected you. Yeah. All up in the veins. I know the drill. Thank you for your missive. It means everything to me. It also means it worked. So if you felt a certain way, you're good. You're going to be all right. Keep coming back. This must be your first go-around. I'm not intimidated by people who think that they wrote some sort of ridiculous little thing that they jotted down from the internet and think that works. We don't fall for that here. I'm very, very stable in who I am, very confident in who I am. Okay? So if you felt insulted by that, or you felt insulted by it and you thought I was talking down to you, perhaps you should lift yourself up. That works. You know, that's how self-esteem works. So back to my N-word thing. I just want to say this real quick. I don't care who you are or where you're from. Insults are going to come, but we have to behave like adults. We're trying to give ourselves permission to act poorly. That's the best way to put it. People think that they need permission to act poorly so they can blame others for their bad behavior instead of just recognizing who they are. I tell this to everyone I know. Stop blaming people for your behavior. You show who you are because that's who you are. You haven't come to terms with that yet. You have to know who you are. I just did that because you said so. No, you did that because that's who you are. I stole it because they steal all the time. No, you stole it because you're a thief. Deep down, you're a thief. And you were trying to find permission to be a thief. You were trying to find permission to be a scumbag. Because deep down, you always were. See, you are who you are. You don't have to pretend. You just are who you are. If somebody's a scumbag to you and you're not a scumbag, that is because you are not a scumbag. But if somebody's a scumbag to you and then you become a scumbag, guess what? It's because you always were. If you can do it naturally, if you could do it at the blink of an eye, if you didn't have to think about it in order to do it, that's who you are. Trying to find other excuses for it is deflection. You are who you are, naturally. So when someone calls me the N-word, I don't behave like one because I never was one. So I'm not affected by the word. Other people are. Other people are hurt by it because deep down, when they hear it, something triggers them and says, I've always felt that about myself. I know that's a tough thing to hear, but it's real. Because when you're confident, when you know who you are, no matter what anyone says about you can affect you. No matter what anyone says, when you know who you are. But when you don't, just like that, you become the thing they called you. Let's take a break. We'll be back. We got music news coming up and so much more. It's Reese on the radio. Let's get to some weather.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, I'm just getting mentioned. Is that what he talked about at the beginning of the news? He did? Okay. Yeah, in Rhode Island? Okay. All right, good. As long as it wasn't missed. Because I'd have been like, wow, the crazy story. I know it's just unfolding in Pawtucket. If I get any details, I'll, of course, bring it up to you. Let's get into some music news. News. Do you know that's actually a lot of people's favorite part? I cannot believe it. I have no idea. I want to say congratulations. Today we have music news birthdays in the house. A guy who I'll never listen to, The Weeknd, turns 36 today. Singer Ava Max. Does she sing that song, Sue Me? Is that her? Sounds like her. Do you even know who that is, Roland? Ava Max? Does not. Okay, you don't even know her. Lupe Fiasco, I know you know him. Yeah, Kick Push. Turns 44. I remember he was just a kid. Has it really been over 20 years? Lupe Fiasco, Kick Push, turns 44. Andy Taylor, guitarist from Duran Duran, turns 65, which shows you exactly how old I've become. I would have never known that Duran Duran was just 10 years older than me. Or at least the guitarist was 10 years older than me. And I have to go, this one is straight out of, the West Coast. And this really, really puts things in perspective. Rapper Ice-T. Take a wild guess at what age he is. He turns today. Wild guess. Close enough. 68 years old. Damn! Ice-T, sick, going on 70. Well, he ain't there yet, but he's getting close. Goodness gracious. 68 years old Ice-T. And he's still got Coco. That makes me question, how old is she now? I'm not going to look her up. Just 40? She's 50-something. Yeah, let's go. Let's make a gentleman's bet, $1. I'm going with 51. You're going with what? You're going to stick with her? You're not going to bet me. Come on. We'll look it up. Let's get some weather, and then we'll come 48. All right, 51, 48. Let's see who actually gets closest. If it's under, you win. If it's over 51, I win. Let's see. We'll look it up. Let's take a break. We'll do some weather, and then we'll get to your phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right. We are back. Let me grab a couple of these phone calls in here. Ralph in Wallingford, how are you, sir?
Hello.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Good. How you doing today?
Can you turn me down on the radio so I can hear you, buddy, and not myself? What's going on?
Hey, listen, I just tuned you on a little bit, and I heard you saying about the N-word and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not just the N-word. I mean, I'm Italian.
Okay.
If someone calls me a bad name,
okay,
I'm just going to say, listen, why are you feeling that way? Thank you, and just walk away. But I think the biggest problem is, why are these people getting so angry and have to call names? I just don't understand that.
You know what it is?
On?
I will tell you what it is. There's something to this that a lot of people are missing. And what has happened in our society is that it has turned words into violence in our society. We keep telling people that words can be violence or silence can be violence. And when we keep telling or making folks sensitive, because they say that's the biggest problem we have in our society, is that people aren't sensitive to things. And then you have an entire generation that is brought up thinking that every word or every sentence matters. And when that society evolves, no matter what you say, it has got to be dealt with in a way that's, sort of a hair-pulling out session. Like you having an opinion about something I disagree with. It's not just two people having a disagreement. It's an act of violence.
And why, the funny is not just the words, but everybody is just so angry in this country, in this world. And one more quick thought.
Yes.
I have a solution to all these people, Democrats, Republicans, going after each other. If I was a Republican or Democrat, if I didn't want something, I'd say, hey, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And the other side's going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Go for, I'm just joking, but go for a vote. And it's just crazy. I just don't understand people anymore. There's really not a place that you can go, relax, and don't worry about it.
I believe that there are rational. I believe that outside of our politics or our body politics, that there are rational people who just go on with their lives and just don't want to be bothered with that whole thing. Yeah. They almost feel like it's poison. But unfortunately, what they don't understand is that their inaction or non-involvement, if you will start creeping into their own lives. Then they have to react, and then it becomes a matter of if it's too late to react.
True. That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
You always make a good point. Love the show.
Thank you
very
so
much for taking my call. Much appreciated.
You got it, sir. Have a great one. Let me go to, let's take Steve in Andover there. There he is. Hey, Steve. Sorry about that. I was trying to find out what button to push. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Good afternoon.
What's up?
Hey, yeah, so just in relation to that last caller there talking about how, like, sensitivity, well, we've bred this hypersensitivity into people that really, for no good reason, and accomplishes no good purpose.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm older. I hate to admit it. But, like, I grew up in a 4-generation household. And, like, I used to hear stories about pre-depression stuff and depression stuff. And I say to myself all the time, if this was 1942, everybody east of the Mississippi would be speaking German. West of the Mississippi would be speaking Japanese.
Right.
Because our country has degenerated so much because of all this type of nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, we never would have won World War II with the crew that we have in this country.
No, absolutely not. We are not made of sterner stuff, as Optimus Prime once said.
No, like, searching through your barn to find pieces of copper so you could donate it back for the war effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Victory gardens. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And forgive me for using this word because it's going to come out sounding bad, but the collective good back then was, in fact, the collective good of the country. It wasn't the warm collectivism of that idiot from New York City, but it's the collective good of the country. And so when, you hear like that last caller talk about, the sensitivity stuff, well, that's just been bred in by people who really have no other perspective than themselves.
Yes.
And it really comes back to a narcissism.
Yes.
That's what this all falls back on.
You know what you just...
Narcissism.
You know what you just literally like bubbled up in me? And it was something that I totally forgot in the last call. And because he was talking about it, when did this become, sort of a fabric of who we are? And you just brought this up. You were talking about like what we were pre-depression, depression, and then post-depression. And as Generation Xers were, like we really kind of were like in a sweet spot because we still had our grandparents who were part of the greatest generation, which was either depression or at least post-depression. But you know what it was? I totally didn't think about this. We had an entire generation of people who were forced into sensitivity training. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I think that all came about because of all the nonsense from the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
And suddenly we find ourselves trapped in this, I make a reference to the Bible where the Tower of Babel, where the people wanted to ascend to the level of God and they wanted to talk to God, and they kept making this thing. That's in some ways that's what we've become.
Yep.
This sort of society where we want to be so enlightened, and yet no one realizes that. Let's face it, humans don't change. Okay, if you study history, like. Okay, we'll talk about Vlad the Impaler for a minute, right? So we'll go back to the 1400s, Vlad the Impaler. We talk about how cruel he was. Oh, how could a dude, have put, rods of wood through people and spiked them on his property to scare off the enemies, and it worked. Okay, so we'll talk about cruelty. And yet, we now have a bunch of elitists who are eating babies. So where have we progressed, you know what I mean, in society? People don't change.
No, they don't. And I keep trying to tell people that.
We think we do, but it's the whole Tower of Babel thing. I'm gonna build a stairway to reach God. You're never gonna do that. We're never gonna get that enlightened. Just accept the fact that we're all broken and try and fix ourselves. Like, I don't understand.
I'll go one step further, Steve. What's absolutely amazing about that, let's not even use the Tower of Babel. Here's another example. So this generation, or at least the world that we're living in now, they've decided to forget about the tower to reach God. What they're trying to do now is erase his existence. Because
yes, absolutely.
That's because, again, that for them, that's an easier task. Which imagine, because I'll tell you this, the thing that I found fascinating over the last day or two, I am seeing now an ascendance that I've never seen before. Like in my entire life, I don't remember any time where people in my neighborhood didn't go to church. And then, of course, when I was in my 20s, everybody left the church. And then when you talk to people that was like, no, not a religious person, don't go to church. Church is not a part of life. Now I'm in this new era where more and more people are going to church and finding God. Tim Allen, the actor, comedian from Home Improvement, just put out a presser recently. He said he did 13 months of reading every word of the Bible because he completely lost his faith in God after his father was killed by a drunk driver. And now he has decided to go back to the church and find God. And I'm watching that. And then I found out that the three guys from the five, Harold Ford Jr., Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld are a part of a Christian chat group that they send Bible verses to one another. Today, I'm finding more and more people going to God than ever before. And guess who's getting angry? Those who have been trying to erase him for the last 20 years.
And, let's take a wild guess which side of the spectrum those people are on.
No need to guess, sir. Self-explanatory. And you're 100%. Exactly. You're 100% right. And I look at them, the way that they attack people like Charlie Kirk, even his wife, Erica Kirk, Turning Point USA, people who talk about or profess their faith in God. All of that is now under attack even more so. And the greatest thing about it is, for me, Steve, what I'm loving the most about that is that there are more people unafraid to pronounce their faith in God.
Oh, absolutely. It's the dichotomy right now is absolutely insane when you look at it. Because, if you watch TV back in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody ever mentioned God or the church.
Couldn't do it.
You know what I mean? It didn't happen. Now you can watch TV and people will literally talk about their faith on a normal, everyday TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, which would never have happened back then because the whole ruffling feathers and trying to, whatever. And yet back then you had a much higher percent of the population that probably had a relationship with God, but didn't really want to express it. You know what I mean? And now to that point, okay, you got people who are more and more willing to come out and voice it and be opinionated about it. And I find that, I say to myself, wow, I wish my mother was still alive because she would want to see this.
Yeah.
This would floor her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that dichotomy is really, really strange.
It is, but it's, you know what? On another level, it's also beautiful because I'm not going to lie. This morning when I heard that thing about Greg Gutfeld and the guys at the Five and the Tim Allen thing, I don't know why, but I was beaming. My smile was bigger than ever. I was just like, I don't know why that made me so happy, but it just does. It was so beautiful to hear that. And those are men. So to hear that men are coming back to the church and coming back to their faith it's enormous because when I was growing up, all the women were leading the guys to church. Now it's great to see men going. So.
Right. And I just saw this study somewhere. I forgot where it was, but the whole, I can't keep track of all the generation A's and B's and all that nonsensical crap. But the 20-ish to 30-ish males are part of that group that's heading back to church.
Yeah.
Which really, I think portends something good for our country in the long run.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's good.
Let's have more of it. That's all I can say. Thank you, sir.
Roger that. Thanks.
You got it. Yeah, that's for me. It's been an overwhelming thing for me over the last couple of days. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and then we'll get to the rest of the phone calls as well. In fact, I got a little time to talk about it now. So I'm going to be speaking at the Bridge Community Church next Sunday. Roseanne and I, in fact, are. And they invited us to speak. We've been there for 3 weeks now, and I think we're going to make that our home church. And as Steve was just talking about places now that you can see on TV, we downloaded the Angel Network, and Roseanne is, she says, I'm watching my Jesus show. She watches Chosen. She loves that show, and I go to sleep to it every night because she will leave it on the TV, and it's again, it's amazing. I was saying to myself when we were going to church yesterday, I was really, you could see it on my face that I was a little, I don't want to use the word concerned. I was confused. And we were walking to the car to go to breakfast because we always have breakfast at 10 Main. And so we're going out because we go to have breakfast before we go to church, and they're right around the corner from each other. And I was getting in the car, and Roseanne could see it on my face. She goes, what's wrong? And I went, I don't know. I'm confused about something. And she's like, what? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed with what my faith is doing to me. Like I feel something different happening, and I'm confused about it. And later on last night, I was talking to her about it. She goes, are you okay now? Are you a little bit better? And I said, you know what? The whole time I was feeling confused, is the one person I didn't ask for help. I didn't ask God. And I said, I should have. And I was like, I'm confused about my faith. And I'm confused about the way that it's affecting me. And I didn't go to the one person I should have asked. And that's what I did. I stopped and I asked, and I said, I'm confused. Please help me understand. And that's what I did. And now I woke up this morning and I understand. I totally get it. And it's a beautiful thing. I've never felt the way that I feel today. Never. Except for the time when I got sober. The first 6 months of getting sober, I was energized. I was bouncing from wall to wall. But this is the first time I've ever felt like something really, really like coursing through me. And I could feel something that I've never felt before. But to Steve's point, it's good to see a lot of people. That's why I was so overwhelmed when I saw Tim Allen said he read the Bible for 13 months, went page to page. And after all of these years, he lost his father when he was 11. I don't even know how old Tim Allen is. I know he's older than me. But he waited all this time. He refused to go to faith because he was angry about what this drunk driver and he blamed God for that. But he went back to today, or this past 13 months, went back to the Bible and felt energized and renewed. That is an amazing thing. And for me, I think that was part of why I was so overwhelmed, because that was what needed God to explain to me, because I kept saying to myself, I waited this long. Is it too late? And then Tim Allen's story came out, and I went, it's never too late. Because the only time is now. So I'm really, really, you pushed me over with a feather, man. That's the way I feel right now. And it's the best feeling. I promise I will not turn this into a whole religious retreat on the show. I am still going to be bombastic. I'm still Reese on the radio. But, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my faith in God. And my being here, is an example of that. So don't let you overwhelm me with that. Anyway, we'll get back. More news, more views. We'll also get to your phone calls. If you want to, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842 on this President's Day edition of Reese on the Radio. Let's get the weather out there. When is it? Hold on. Before we go to the weather, Roland, you said it's going to get cold again? When is it going to get cold? And what do you mean by cold? A couple of days. Back to teens and tens? It's still, it is still February. Well, I got to check when it's going to be cold. No, it's not. I don't want to hear that. The groundhog said that it's not. That rodent drives me nuts. 6 more weeks. I don't believe any of that. All right, let's get some weather. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
I'm just checking out something, and I need to find out if it's true. So, let me see if this is okay. So it is. I just saw this on X. Roland, do you have the Disney Channel, like Disney Plus? Do you have that? That a thing?
Duh.
You do, right? Okay. Are you aware of a Disney Junior superhero?
That Disney Junior superhero?
Yeah, like your daughter's too old to
Yeah, we're not watching Disney Junior.
Okay, so apparently there is a breaking story that involves Disney Junior. Now, if I know Disney is very, very woke, right? I mean, that's always been the claim, right? They celebrate LGBTQ things, and of course, the new Avengers. All of the characters are always sort of like a race swap going on, like trying to get women or minorities, especially blacks, like the Captain America. They wanted Anthony Mackie so badly to be the Captain America, and it didn't fly. But it doesn't matter. They're very woke, as it were. I still like Marvel, but sometimes it could be a little ahead of its skis. But this is absolutely the most troubling thing ever. So I went to go make sure of it. I thought it was nuts, but okay, it's true. It appears that Disney Junior has created a animated superhero who is called Captain Durag.
His Durag has special powers?
No, I don't know. The character exists. Captain Durag is 100% real. Debuting on Disney Junior's brand of new shows, premiering January of this year. It's created by Martellus Bennett. Yeah, the ex-NFL tight end.
Oh, yeah, I know him. I tried to get with that dude.
Did you?
To do some work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the show is about a little black girl with a wild imagination, and Captain Durag pops up as the fictional superhero in an episode.
Hey.
So, yes.
He must be talking about himself because he wore a do-rag all the time.
Did he wear a do-rag all the time? Well, there's been some backlash by the black community. It's blowing up hard on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Folks are split, but they say that this is peak stereotype. The peak stereotype crowd is the loudest. Comments like do-rag as his hero mask during Black History Month. Oh my goodness! Oh man. He has a sidekick named Snowbun. That's it. I'm out. He has got a sidekick named Snow Bunny. No, he does not have a. No.
I believe his wife is. His wife is white.
His wife is white.
Yeah,
that's a Snow Bunny.
So I think it's just him and his wife.
I'm done. I'm freaking done. I'm so done. I'm out. You guys called me a bigot. How dare you? How dare you? I'm just done. All right, let's get some weather. We'll be back. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
I can't get past these people sometimes. It's just too much. They're crazy to me. These people are crazy. Let me get some phones out of here, then we'll end this. Ralph is in South Carolina. What's up, buddy?
Couple things, Reese. After listening to that teacher in New York, you know why the kids can't read or write or add or subtract. I mean, that tells you why they were. What do you think if the southern states pass laws saying no stupid liberal from the Northeast or the Midwest are allowed in southern states.
I couldn't agree more.
Out.
Apparently, this guy believes that you can just invent laws that can keep people from moving their business. I mean, if we could just invent laws, like we should totally start going. If we could go above and beyond on the laws, let's just say that liberals are no longer allowed to be teachers, since we're just making stuff up now.
And this guy's a teacher. But the reason I called, listening to all these Democrats talking about racism and slavery, Reese, black people are still slaves. They're not picking cotton anymore, but they're slaves to the Democratic Party. And this is a fact, and you know it, and I know it, because the Democrats do have them in chains. And we talked about it before.
Not allowed to leave them either. They're not allowed to leave them either.
The worst thing that they really, really hate is someone like you or any other black person who has common sense.
Yeah, but
brain,
I'll tell you this.
Brain.
Let me tell you this. While most people, like there are a lot of people who are black conservatives who have left the plantation, as it were, who always get upset about these, like these black people always say stuff about, I don't care. They come here in droves, coming here with their nonsense, like, I was like, oh, we're going to set that Negro straight. I always look at them and just go, dude, I don't want to be down with your crew. Your crew is lame. Your crew is corny. And there's way too many of you. I don't really, seriously, I don't want to join a bunch of people who are fighting over the same crumbs. Let them have their crumbs. I'm eating well over here. In fact, my wife made me, a filet mignon for our anniversary. I'm not eating with these people getting crumbs and Takis and quarter waters. I'm not doing that anymore. Those days are over.
Also, this act where they're talking about the Voting Act that will only allow citizens to vote, and you listen to these people and you ask yourself, why in God's earth would anybody with a functioning brain be against someone voting and proving who they are?
Well, here's what's going to happen. I want you to pay very close attention to that, Ralph, and that's going to happen this week. And I promise you that number's going to come up. There is going to be new polling that Democrats are going to be releasing. And it is going to come out. People, mark my words. You know that I'm right on this. New polling is going to come out that says that African Americans right down the middle are against or for voter ID. The 71% that you're hearing today or seeing today, that polling data is going to be challenged because Democrats are going to skew the question so that then they could say that polling is an absolute lie. New polling says that African Americans are split down the middle. And that is exactly what they want, to at least say, well, look, if half of African Americans want it, then those are the people we care about. They were already ignoring the 71%. And people kept asking, why are they ignoring 71% of African Americans who are for voter ID? The reason why is because new polling is coming.
Right, but the thing that, and you know, and I know, you've been around the block, you can make a poll, get the answer that you want by the way you ask.
I was just trying to explain that to somebody in the chat room. They do not understand. They're always, like, every time I get a message from them, it's like, polling data shows that Donald Trump is this. And I'm going, dude, I never listen to polling data by this organization. And I try to explain why. He goes, oh, you only like the polling you like. And I'm like, I only like the polling that's correct. I use polling when I get guys elected, and I know which polls to go for, and I know which polls to ignore because I live and breathe it. I do that stuff in my sleep. So
you know what you got to do, and we talked about this before, Reese, and I firmly believe in this. I'd like to see every single politician take questions, not from the press, from the general public.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people, listen, that is the biggest complaint I hear every time polling data comes out. Even with, Lefty Lamont here getting 63%, the fourth most popular governor in the country. Blew my mind when I read that poll. And then I realized, oh, this poll is so bad. It's a horrible poll. The whole poll is disgusting. Anyway, got to go, Ralphie. Thank you, man. And speaking of which, I want to play this. This is important in all of this. Talking about how bad things have gotten. Try this on for size. Harry Enton, CNN, polling I can trust, who said this about the Democrat Party.
Democrats who identify as very liberal or conservative. You know, there used to be a lot of conservative Democrats, right? Back in 1999, 26% of Democrats self-identified as conservative. Just 5% said that they were very liberal. It was a smidgen. Now that far left has gained considerably in power. Look at this. Now we're talking about a fifth of Democrats, 21% say they're very liberal. That conservative part of the Democratic Party, adios amigos, goodbye, just 8%. And when you combine the 21% who are very liberal with those who say that they're somewhat liberal, we're talking about 3 in 5 Democrats who identify as either somewhat liberal or very liberal, with the very liberals a much larger portion of the party. The far left, which used to just be a smidgen within the Democratic Party, has gained considerable power.
Now, this is an important thing to note here, folks. Why is that distinction so important? Let me explain. 1, the 26% of Democrats in 1999 who said that they were conservative have now become independents, if not Republicans, today. The 21% that are very liberal today, and the 8%, as it were, that is only a result of one thing, the youth. That's that 21%. When they're talking about now, remember, we're not talking about the same people they were in 1999. They're talking about the emergence of youth that are very liberal because of school. Now, there's more to this. There's also this.
What about Democratic socialists, like the likes of, you've got Bernie Sanders or Zoran Mandani here in New York City? Where does that line up?
Okay, so on a separate question where you essentially, CNN asked this last year, which was, okay, Democrats who think of themselves as democratic socialists, among all Democrats, including those independents who lean towards the Democratic Party. Look at this. We're talking about a third of all Democrats who identify as democratic socialists. Bernie Sanders and Zoran Mandani are not alone. They are a considerable part of the Democratic base at this point. And more than that, if you look at Democrats under the age of 35, they are nearly half of the Democratic Party. Look at this. 42% of Democrats think of themselves as democratic socialists.
Now, why is that significant? As I told you guys a long time ago on this very network, be very careful about what Democrats are doing in their party, and that is their inability to calm down the rabid dogs, because they are being overrun and overcome by Democrat socialists or socialists, and they have no control over them. And in order to keep their electorate, they're going to have to go more and more to the left. I said it was going to happen with Lamont. It happened. I told you it was going to happen with Lamont. It happened. As with every other Democrat, they're going to have to become more and more extreme to the left, because that party is growing into a socialist left party. But don't forget, that is not going to be helpful.
Under the age of 35, just like Zoran Mandani, what happened in New York City is not some aberration, right? It is not something that just happened in New York City. It is something that we are seeing grow within the Democratic Party at this particular point, when we're talking about 42% of Democrats under the age of 35 identifying as Democratic Socialists, and a third of all Democrats. My goodness gracious.
Now, if something that bad happens, right, you would think that should be good for the party, right? It's embracing its socialism, which I always told you it was, but it was always flirting with it, because it knew it was there, but it wasn't there yet. Well, they're there yet. And Harry Enton had some bad news.
So if the ideology of the Democratic Party is shifting or changing, how are people feeling about it?
Okay, so we're talking about the Democratic base, right? But what about all Americans, right? How about all voters? Voters who say the Democrats are now too liberal. Look at this percentage. It was 42% in 96, 48% in 2013, now 58% in 2025 of all voters say that the Democratic Party is too liberal. The Democrats are moving to the left, the far left is gaining power, and there could be some electoral repercussions, because what we see right now is voters, the clear majority, say that they are too liberal.
And if they are too liberal, they will lose. Oh, they'll do fantastic with their base. They'll do fantastic with their base. But their base, remember, they're only on the four corners. All on the West Coast, all on the East Coast, a couple of places here and around there, maybe Colorado. Big whoop. but they're never going to win in the places that matter. So just sit idly by and watch that completely implode. And then somebody will come along, maybe a Stephen A. Smith. We'll talk about him tomorrow, by the way. We understand that there's some report that's saying he's considering a run in 2028. I'll tell you about that. I would say, Stephen A., get yourself a food taster. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll end with Frankie Boy. What's going on, sir?
Think about this nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
They catch the guy at the front door, but they can't find her body. Then the cops interview the guy, and they say, we have your DNA. You were in the house. Yeah, I was there. I broke into the house. I stole some stuff. I left in 5 minutes. They check his car. Nothing. They check his residence. Nothing. Then they ask him about Bitcoin. I don't know anything about Bitcoin, which 95% of the people don't. They got nothing if they don't find that body.
Wait a minute. Did all of that just happen? Because why did I miss that part of the story?
No. I'm using that as a scenario.
Oh, okay.
And there's nothing on nobody. Obviously, nobody saw him leave. It's so dark over there.
Right.
If they don't have anything on film, this guy might only get charged with breaking and entering. In the meantime, we can't find him.
Well, I just heard a story, Frank, and I'm not too certain on this, but TMZ is actually, he said it. What's his name? Harvey Levin is now saying. Let me see if I can actually get this audio up.
Oh yes.
Hold on.
It is Monday morning. We have received a fourth letter from the same person who says that he knows where Nancy Guthrie is, and he wants money in return for the information. Essentially, he wants the reward. So I have something to say to you, and I've already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime, and you should know that.
So now this guy who's saying that he knows where she is.
In Mexico, he claims.
Yeah, he claims, exactly, in Mexico, saying that there were several people involved. And Harvey Levin keeps going to air with this guy's info like it's some sort of breaking news. I don't know. White Mike's theory is starting to really, really rub on me now.
Here's the moral of the story, and we don't have much time.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say this again. If you are a man, I don't care if you're married, take control of your home.
Yeah.
If your mother's living alone, you put your foot down with your wife like I did and tell her, Mama's coming home. That's it.
I know.
That's
A woman sent me a text message the other day. I think it was Elaine. It may have been Elaine. If not, I think maybe it been Kathy. Sent me a message and says that, look, we do have to consider whether or not Mom refused to live with them and wanted to live on her own just because she wanted to, die peacefully.
That won't be a problem with me. That won't be a problem because I'm going to pick her up and take her.
You know what? I would have. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think I would have. If my mom said, "No, I'm going to live in my own house."
Yeah, but think about it. This guy might only be charged with breaking. It doesn't matter his DNA's there. If they have not, he might only be charged with breaking. And you have to prove kidnapping and murder.
Yeah,
you get a good defensive attorney. He's going to beat this rap.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't know. I will tell you this though: the thing that people are starting, at least starting to hear, is that they're losing interest in the story. And can I tell you why they're losing interest? It's because we live in an instant sort of like an instant milk or instant, oatmeal kind of society. We like watching CSI. And if you don't catch the murderer in an hour, we're done with you. We're not.
Right, and Friday night, the FBI, they popped Carlos. They arrested 4 people.
Yeah.
Held them for 2 hours, and let them go, drive home safely.
Exactly. It's like this. Usually we can catch this guy in a week.
And he's a bumbling fool.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that they haven't, it was like, we haven't caught anybody yet. All right, I'm done. It's sad, but it's what it is. Thank you, Frankie. You got it. Yeah, I think that's where it is. People are just going, you didn't catch this guy? Come on, man. I don't even watch TV shows for this long. And it's turning into an ongoing saga, and people are just not. Go ahead, Roland.
It's true because I just watched a movie this weekend, Roof Man.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that? I love that movie.
Which is based on a true story.
True story, yeah.
How dumb can you be?
The movie is obviously much more.
Can you be?
You thought that was it? You thought his whole crime was dumb?
No. Well, first of all,
how he got busted.
He shouldn't have got that many years for that crime. He treated him nice.
Yes.
You know, he didn't hurt anybody.
Yep.
And he just took some bread.
Yes. He never hurt a soul.
Yeah. So, why are you throwing 45 years at the man to begin with? Second of all, if you are able to sleep in a Toys R Us for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, he was there for a while.
Not get caught and had a chance to get up out of there. You at the airport. You out of there. You home and free.
Yeah.
You heard her on the phone crying. You knew it was a setup.
Oh.
And you turned around and went back.
Did you watch all of the post-credit scenes with the actual woman and stuff?
Yeah.
I went to the movies by myself to go see that. And which Roseanne will let me do now and again, to go to the movies just so I can hang out and sort of veg out. And it was so much fun, that movie. And I have to say, I cannot stop thinking about that movie. And although
I was so mad.
You were mad?
Yeah, because I'm like, he didn't do enough to get the time he got. So I wouldn't have mind a person like that. I wouldn't have mind him getting away.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, he was not he has an anti-hero kind of aspect that you can actually root for. All right, we got to get up out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a wonderful President's Day. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Weather's coming up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.